Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Hope you guys had a good holiday. Tariq?
Very good. Good. Family's good. Food was good. Football was even better.
Yeah, that Bills game. It's like Patriots week, the whole thing, and I feel like we could use the whole half hour to talk about this thing, but we'll put it off for a second. How are you doing?
Feeling great. Feeling colorful this morning.
You're being very colorful. What is it? I can see a cactus.
The 94-95 Shaquille O'Neal NBA All-Star jersey. It's like the original Mitchell and Ness jersey I bought. It's one of my babies. I love this thing.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
Hey, let's talk college football first. So, college football coaches Lincoln RIley, Brian Kelly make news, one moving into the Southeast Conference, the other moving away. It's like, this feels to me like a radical shift in something with college football.
It's what I would love to see, and people will say, well, why, Tariq? Why would you love to see this? I mean, look at Notre Dame. They have to scrounge around and get a new head coach and all this other different things. Lincoln RIley has been linked to about 4 to 5 different other programs, NFL, for the last 3 to 4 years. So that doesn't shock me at all. USC was coming in hard. It also doesn't shock me the fact that when you go back to the Big Ten, where it was Michigan State and Penn State, they shored up their head coaches for 10 years. So I guess now we look after Halloween, before Thanksgiving, for all of these head coaches possibly to be moving somewhere, whether it's to another conference or to the NFL. It also gets to the very next level of points of this is all a business now. None of this whole college spirit, hey, we're going to go out here and win this one. We'd love to see college kids running onto the campuses and all the great feelings. This is all a business. Brian Kelly made a business decision, could have stayed at Notre Dame. They were terrible before he got there. Now they're better. They can go get another head coach, but he wants a national championship by going to LSU. That's the only statement here he wants, and he doesn't want the, let's say, education restrictions out there.
No, but see, that's what I find so funny. And again, like with all the changes, right? Kids can now sign with endorsement contracts. The kids still get screwed in this whole thing. But before we get there, Brian Kelly wants to win a national championship. So why not go do it in the SEC? What are you, stupid? You have a better chance of winning a national championship at Notre Dame than you do inside the SEC. You're leaving a team that has a legitimate chance, as we tape this, we don't know, to make it into the playoff here, to go rebuild an LSU program. And that, by the way, blew out a coach that was beloved by students, alumni, and faculty there at LSU. Like, I get, okay, if you're going to go for the money, say you went for the money. But there's no integrity anymore, especially for Brian Kelly, super Catholic, my dream job. He says what, how many weeks before?
He was there 13 years.
Okay, great. Don't say 2 weeks before, unless somebody cuts me a check for $250 million, I'm not going anywhere. Like, Notre Dame is different. I believe guys when they say, I want to come here because of it. Who has ever done this in Notre Dame before? And I'm not even a Notre Dame guy.
I don't think it's ever happened.
It's never happened before. But this, to your point, I think this is interesting. Look at how many people have won national championships, different head coaches at LSU. So LSU's got some sort of program and a tie-in to get the athletes they need to win a national championship. They're looking for a head coach. The other thing, too, is this has always been a business. Like, I get all this, and I don't believe any head coach that says I'm not going anywhere. Guess who said that before when they were coaching the Miami Dolphins?
Everybody.
Oh, well, Nick Saban did. Went to Alabama, and guess what? It worked out.
Okay, fine. Brian Kelly is not Nick Saban.
No,
Brian Kelly isn't Ed Orgeron. Brian Kelly succeeded at Notre Dame because he's an authoritarian, and Notre Dame allows you, based on the systems that they have, to be an authoritarian. You know what kids won't handle that stuff? Kids that don't have to have a 3.5 GPA to get into LSU. He's going to fall on his face. But to go back to my earlier point, the ones that get screwed again are the kids.
Absolutely.
Notre Dame could be held out of this playoff, depending on how everything shakes out, because of Brian Kelly making this decision. How about this? Luke Fickell, who is the head coach in Cincinnati, who, if they win, they're in, is being mentioned for the Notre Dame job. They could miss out if he leaves to go coach for Notre Dame. You could also have a situation, depending again how all this shakes out, where Luke Fickell has left a team that is in the playoffs to go coach Notre Dame, who could be playing Cincinnati in the playoffs. Like these kids that commit these years to these coaches at 16, 17 years old.
They do have an out now, though.
Okay.
But a coach went in there to a living room to talk to parents about a kid, go there, and then found out in a text message their head coach isn't going to be there.
And Bill, think about this, right? Like the commitment, the impact that a decision that a 17, 18, 19-year-old kid has to make on an education versus the ability for a grown man at 30, 40, 50, 60 to decide what to do to his family. Those are two very wide different decisions. To say that the decision that, a 19-year-old can now go somewhere else and maybe succeed competing against 5 other people on a depth chart to play quarterback, a wide receiver, a running back, it's not the same as what Brian Kelly just did. It's not the same.
Saying, this is the business we've chosen.
Well,
it just comes with the territory.
I will say this, though. For those of you who don't like Notre Dame, do you not want to root for Notre Dame a little bit more within the last couple of weeks here just to see what would happen?
What a story.
That's what we love about sports.
And there's more. And it's philosophically, and I know we don't have the time to get into it because we want to get into the Bills things. Philosophically, they both want to win national championships. And the way they go, Riley leaves the SEC for a place he can dominate, and Kelly jumps into the SEC thinking this is both their clearest paths. And Kelly is 60 and the other guy's 37. It's like, God, there's a lot going on there.
But I even don't equate what Kelly did to what Riley did, because Riley is still building his way up, right? Like, look, I didn't think anyone would leave Oklahoma for another job, but it makes sense as to why he did it. Brian Kelly, you did it just for the money. Don't ever look me in the face, any college head coach again, and talk to me about integrity and the players that we want and all this stuff. You're all full of crap. And I made that point 3 years ago and got lit up for it. You cannot be a good person and an NCAA head football coach at the same time.
This is the Rochester Press Box, and we're talking Buffalo Bills, New England Patriots next. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box, our Buffalo Bills segment brought to you by Ralph Honda for 3 generations and celebrating 50 years now as New York's first and oldest Honda dealer. Visit Ralph Honda today and see how we do Honda right. RalphHonda.com. The moment has come. What do you think of this game? The Patriots are playing at Buffalo on Monday night, standalone stage. It's got everything.
Except for a legitimate contender in the AFC East coming from outside of Buffalo, right? Like, I mean, nothing about this game makes me nervous on Monday night. Nothing about this game makes me nervous on Monday night. I understand the Patriots are on a run, but the hype machine that is the NFL will produce you another king of the mountain. Earlier this week, I'm listening to Power Rankings. Who's most likely to make the Super Bowl? They list 4, right? Packers, Buccaneers were 1, Packers, Chiefs were 4. You know who was 3? The New England Patriots. They have the New England Patriots 3rd in Power Rankings when they still have 2 games against the defending AFC East champion Buffalo Bills. You gotta be kidding me.
To that point, Vegas knows all. Vegas still has Tampa, Buffalo.
Kidding me. The team is on a 6-game winning streak, for crying out loud, and the Bills have been inconsistent, like I said last week, for the last 5 weeks. There's no possible way you should get out of the month of December, if you're a Bills fan, any less than 3-1 in the next 4 games. Yeah. You should win 3 of the next 4 football games. Forget about the New Year's game. Forget about the Jets game. Forget about, I think it's the Falcons you have at the end of the year. Nobody really cares about those games. This is your season. This is your legacy. You have a chance to exercise all demons? In the next 4 weeks. What demons?
The Bills swept the Patriots last year. They won the AFC East. What demons?
This is not last year's Patriots. This is this year's Patriots.
So what demons do I have with this year's Patriots?
This Monday night, which you should be concerned about. Oh, and by the way, a chance to face Tom Brady, possibly for the last time next week.
Well, by the way, we said that 7 years ago.
I understand that.
I think it's interesting. You worry more about the Dolphins than you do about the Patriots.
No, I do, because when it comes to preparation, I know that McDermott is going to have his team ready to go against New England, right? Like, this is what McDermott lives for. McDermott has had this game plan in his head since last July. He's ready to roll. I'll put it this way, and I said it calmly 3 weeks ago, and I'll say it calmly to you again. This week, John Feliciano, offensive lineman, Spencer Brown, offensive lineman, and defensive lineman Starla Tulele are now back. They're playing. This team that you have on Monday night is the team that you are going to attempt to make a run with the rest of the season. When this Bills team is healthy, they are the best team in the AFC. No question about it.
Okay.
And they're healthy.
Okay.
I'm not going to miss Tre'Davious White.
Okay. I'm sorry. You go ahead.
No. Bill led into this point. I will say this. I think their defense will still be good. White will be the difference, though, because this will be the first game without him in the lineup. So that is going to be big. And the Patriots have a lot of different weapons. Nobody really knows. Like, they've got 2 to 3 wide receivers that are right around the same height. They've got a tight end in, I think it's Hunter Henry, 7 touchdowns. He's probably their most dangerous weapon. So that makes it very interesting, especially with a rookie like Matt Jones, who's performing extremely well than all the other rookies in the NFL. That being said, this is a well-rested Bills team back home after the embarrassing loss to the Colts. I think they put up a great game, and they win on Monday night, but they better win 3 of the next 4 games.
The line is 3, which puts them even on a neutral field, which I think is fascinating.
How is that? Come on. You gotta be kidding
This team
me.
has won 6 games in a row. How are you not noticing
No, that was a
that?
really impressive win against Tennessee, missing their top 2 receivers and having a 4th-string running back cough up a ball on a touchdown run and throwing an interception in the red zone from Tannehill.
They can't control when they play a team.
That's a 28-point win. You're right, the Patriots can't. You, as a football observer, can control your opinion based on who the opponents are. They're running a high school offense with 10-yard outs, and you'll see it.
NFL teams 6 straight wins. Don't make it 7, Duffy. Don't underestimate this team.
Not worried.
Pick it.
Bills win. Of course they cover. Yeah, what are you, nuts at home?
Got a score?
I'm going to go Buffalo 31, New England 17.
24-21.
Oh, get the heck out of here.
Buffalo wins for crying out.
No, but that's
24-21 and be happy. Why can't you be happy?
And it's great that it's on Monday night. Buffalo Bills segment brought to you by Ralph Honda, Like It or Not, is next.
It's happy holidays. He's not happy.
Here's the Press Box Trivia question brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Hello again, Mike O'Brien, your getaway guy. Holiday light shows, 'tis the season. I've got them all in my podcast. Find the links to the podcast and the YouTube video at thegetawayguy.com.
Here's the Press Box Trivia answer brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Are you facing criminal charges from a DWI and feel that you never imagined it could happen to you? Contact attorneys with years of experience as prosecutors and defenders. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today for a free consultation. You can put your trust in us.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. A segment brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law. Attorneys with years of experience defending the accused. Don't go unprepared. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today. We call it Like It or Not. Boy, your New York Mets had a week.
Yes, they did.
What do you think?
I love the fact that they call him Uncle Stevie. I don't call him that. The owner of the Mets made a decision. Steve Cohen made a decision to say, okay, fine. You don't want to come here. You don't want to come here. Max Scherzer, here's a Brinks truck. Here's all this money. Although I am concerned about his age and the dead arm thing at the end of last year, he does, with DeGrom, make this team a legitimate 1-2 punch we've never seen in baseball before with 2 Cy Young pitchers. So I'm excited about that. They need more hitting. Maybe they sign a couple more people. We'll wait and see. Who knows if he even play baseball, for crying out loud.
Well, they signed, they got 2 other guys. Marte, I think, is a great ball player.
Great. I think he is a great player as well. But it's Max. It's Mad Max. We know we needed a number 2. Syndergaard, that's great. Mats, we weren't really believing in it at all, but he's definitely a number 1.
And it's funny, I thought what was more telling than anything was how upset Cohen got of not being able to get Steven Matz back.
Yeah, and I think it's in his best interest to not have Matz back. Listen, he was very upset about that. This was before they got their GM. The GM comes in and then they get Max Scherzer. So I think that makes a bit of a difference, knowing how to negotiate and be in that field. That GM thing might have hurt him with Matz with that decision. But I still like the call. I didn't like Steven Matz returning. It would have been nice because he was a local guy, but Max Scherzer is a definite ace.
Like it or not, we got Frank Gore in the boxing ring.
Okay, so he's fighting Deron Williams, right? And by the way, who has a couple of fights, celebrity fights under his belt already? All right, I will say this up front. Never.
As a guy who, by the way, should be pointed out, has been a celebrity boxer.
No, I'm not a celebrity. I've been a legitimate. Okay. 1, don't ever bet against Frank Gore on anything, if you could say that. Okay. 2, I hate these. I hate these celebrity boxing matches. Like, I love boxing. I'm a amateur boxing historian. Everything about it is romantic to me. And the state of boxing today, where not only is this getting like legitimately talked about, people are going to pay money to watch this fight. People are paying more money to watch fights of people that have never been in rings before and go train with people instead of these folks that dedicate their life to this craft. And that's what it is. It's a craft, right? Like, it really bothers me, especially because of all of the talent that's coming up in the middleweight and above right now. Like, ESPN does fantastic weekly fights that nobody watches. Yet, people are going to shell out money to watch Frank Gore or Deron Williams fight each other.
Is there any way this can help it?
No.
I mean, you're seeing it at least.
No, but what are you seeing? You're not seeing boxing. You're seeing two guys punch each other in the face. That's not boxing. If anything, I think it turns it off because that's what you think boxing is, walking away. You watch Mayweather and Paul go at each other. That wasn't boxing. There was a guy carrying a carcass until the bell rang and collected a check, and he said it himself on the back end.
And fame has come in front of boxing. So now you've got people who want to box, who are talented and professionals at it, not getting the views, but yet somebody that is a Twitter troll get punched in the face. Now, which one would you rather watch? I would rather watch the professionals do it, but a number of everyday people would rather watch the celebrity troll get punched in the face.
Been a long, slow decline for boxing.
I mean, it really breaks my heart. It really breaks my heart when you go back and watch those heavyweight fights from the 70s, those middleweight fights from the 80s, right? Like Hagler Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran, and then, like, those fights still exist. Nobody watches them. They want to watch Jake Paul. They want to watch Deron Williams. And look, I sound like an old man now. I'm going to stop talking before I start sounding more.
Oscar De La Hoya wants to fight again.
Oh, God.
Like it or not, brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law. Unfinished Business is next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. McArdle's is open 7 days a week with dining available indoors and out, takeout and delivery. Come home to McArdle's.
Came now to Eichel. He floated one.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here in the Rochester Press Box. Time for Unfinished Business. And as always, Pat starts us.
As we tape this, we're just hours away from Major League Baseball owners locking out the players because, according to these owners, it's an unsustainable business model. The money that they have to pay these players, and something has to get done. And to prove their point about how unsustainable this business model is, these owners in the last couple of days have spent $1.7 billion in free agent contracts. Let me say that again. The owners who are locking out the players because they cannot afford this business model, they themselves, of their free will, in a capitalistic business, paid them $1.7 billion a mere hours before the lockout was supposed to happen. If you want to talk about financial struggles, Major League Baseball knows all about it. I mean, they've been kicked out of their perch as America's pastime, and I don't know if it's ever possible to regain it again. I understand that you have problems, but when it comes to finances, the good players are getting paid. Right? Teams that want to make money are finding ways to make money around Major League Baseball. You have contracts not only nationally, but regionally. Things are okay for you guys. And the problems that they're having right now, they're easily negotiated every time the CBA comes up. I don't understand what the major issue is here, but I do know this. If you want to argue that you can't afford the way things are going right now, don't give out $1.7 billion hours before you say, we're done doing this.
For the Heisman Trophy, whoever wins it will deserve it. So did Reggie Bush back in the day. We cannot not remember what he did for USC. Yet it seems as if all of the coaches and now players and now organizations that are universities acting like organizations have all been able to profit, yet Reggie Bush cannot get his trophy back. I get it. There was a moment and an issue back then where players weren't supposed to get paid or they weren't supposed to take this under the table. It went on for years. It's gone on for years. Many people, I'm sure, who have won Heismans have done it, and players that will win from this moment on will do it. Just everybody knows about it. My biggest issue is the fact that we all know this took place. We know it was wrong, but it's time to give Reggie Bush the trophy he deserves. We saw it all. We're not going to unremember it. We are going to remember how the Heisman stands on it from now on.
There are 14 Section 5ers on the roster of the University of Buffalo football team, including kicker Alex McNulty out of McQuaid, originally a walk-on for the Bulls. McNulty won the starting job as a sophomore, and he led the team in scoring this year. McNulty even kicked a 55-yard field goal to send Buffalo's game against Northern Illinois to overtime. That was a school record kick. Otherwise, it wasn't a real memorable season at UB. The Bulls went 2-5 in the MAC. They were 4-7 overall, but they can make a case of playing for the national championship, thanks to the 7 degrees of separation. Because, number one, Buffalo beat Ohio. Ohio beat Eastern Michigan, and Eastern Michigan defeated Bowling Green. Step 4 was the big one, because in September, the Falcons defeated Minnesota, a win for the MAC over the Big Ten. There always seems to be one annually. The Gophers then beat Purdue. Purdue beat Michigan State. And Michigan State memorably defeated Michigan. That was the Wolverines' only loss of the year, and they sit second in the playoff standings as we do this. they don't want to be we don't want to be unreasonable about this. So that if Michigan beats Iowa for the Big Ten title, we will concede the second spot to the Wolverines, and UB can play them as the third seed in the playoff, thanks to that interconnectivity miracle, the 7 degrees of separation. And that is our unfinished business. You know, this whole degrees of separation thing is most commonly used with Kevin Bacon.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I connect you two guys in 4 steps. Because I've met Ronnie Shelton, who directed Bull Durham, so he knows Kevin Costner, and Kevin Costner was in JFK with Kevin Bacon.
Oh.
4 steps?
Oh.
That's 3 steps for me, 4 for you guys, and we're all cool.
I thought it was because he looked like somebody on Footloose. Nobody saw Footloose?
That is our program. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week with the Rochester Press Box.
The original, not the remake.